Welcome, everybody, to Parent with Purpose. We are talking today to Shiri, and she is here talking to us about parenting and best ways to get your child to do chores, the little things in the house that you just, you get aggravated with because you've said it a million times and you cannot get that little one or the teenager to sit there and do what they need to do just to make the house function better and save you some frustration. Really? So today we want to welcome Shiri. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me, Linda.
So we want to talk to you today because you're the expert. So give us a little bit of background. How many kids do you have? Why do you have your Facebook and website? What drives you? What's your passion?
Wonderful. So yeah, I am a mom. I have 3 children who are aged 15, 13, and 10 years old. And I was working full-time my entire professional career as a consumer behavior researcher. So my expertise is about behavioral change and how to make changes in behavior stick. And about 3 years ago, I decided to quit my full-time job and offer some support to my kids as they became teenagers. And during that time, I realized I have now more time to actually equip them with the life skills that they need to operate the world at ease. And I found out that, just reading a couple of books wasn't enough for me. I was looking to just use the information that I have from the world of habit and things like that. And I just made it work a bit better and decided to share what I know with other parents. And it just became a full-time job, and it's fun, and I love doing it, and I love seeing kids feel more confident about themselves and also bring some more calm to a lot of households, and it makes me happy to do this job.
That's excellent. So what is the name of your website?
The name of my consultancy is Helpful Kids, and you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, and I also have a website on Teachable.
So let's start with the general question of how do you make a child, let's say, just pick up a towel from, the shower, or put their dirty clothes in the laundry basket, or take their dishes from the table to the dishwasher. And not only that, put it in the dishwasher, like not just on the top of the counter, but those little things that we just try so hard, we say a million times over, and we just can't make them do it. How do we make them do it?
All the behaviors you've described can actually become second nature. Just like brushing our teeth. When we wake up in the morning, we go and brush our teeth, but you can't actually then remember that you've done it necessarily. These behaviors that are done repetitively over and over again a couple of times a day should become second nature, right?
Right.
And it is so frustrating for parents. You feel like actually you've asked your child to come back and pick up that towel, as you said, a million times. How is it not becoming a habit? What's going on? The answer is that in order for a behavior to become a habit, it needs to be practiced in a correct sequence of actions. So if you imagine your son picking up a towel from the floor, that is not the behavior you want to see. You want to see your child, using the towel on his body, finishing to using, and then hanging it on the rack. There is no floor involved in the middle. Is there? Why should it even reach the floor? So when you call your child to pick up a towel from the floor, all you do is you practice a sequence of events, a sequence of action that is completely irrelevant to what you want to see. You don't want to see him throwing it on the floor. You calling him, come, he picking it from the floor. And what you want to see is a sequence where he put it from his body directly on the rack. So if you're about to call your son to pick it from the floor, ask him to actually put it on his body. And from his body, he needs to practice hanging it on the rack.
That makes perfect sense. Do you tell him that's what you're doing?
Yes. So before you are initiating some sort of a change in your family, you need to sit everyone. I usually actually prefer to speak with each child or each culprit in advance to tell them what I'm trying to do, to share my feelings, and to explain to them that this is not a punishment. This is not the crazy mom who's trying something different. You are helping, you really are trying to help them have a habit that will stick with them for life. Try to explain a little bit what happens if a towel stays on the floor, about how germs and bacteria can manifest there because of the dampness. And tell them that when you teach them to do something, actually you're doing something nice. You're really being a caring parent, and you want them to adopt a new behavior, and that you've just learned this technique. And how do they feel about trying it out? And it even works better if you, the parent, take on a challenge as well. Is there something that you, the parent, can actually improve on as well? Whether it's clearing the dishes, as you said, all the examples that you just gave, and both of you at the same time can take on what the youth call a challenge. You know how in YouTube you have all these 7 days challenge.
Yes.
You can actually participate in a similar challenge with your child at the same time. It doesn't have to be the same behavior, but both of you are working together to create a new habit. What's amazing is that with children, habits are created really quickly. The reason they haven't been created so far is that you've practiced a wrong sequence of actions, which include the floor and picking it up from the floor and then hanging it on the rack.
Okay, so just because I know in my brain, I'm automatically going to all the things that frustrated me with my children when I was raising them. The shoes at the front door.
Yeah.
So, and the backpacks when they come home from school, instead of putting them away, boom, down they go. So you're suggesting that when they come home from school, I stand there and make sure that they do it correctly, or if it's dumped, I make them come back, put a backpack back on, and then take it off and then put it away?
The latter. So if you've had the conversation and you've decided on one change, not the entire, so the shoes would be 1, the backpack would be 2, and the jacket will be 3. So you focus on 1, because when it comes to habit change, you need to really have one habit sort of really stick before you can build on that and add something new. So you're the mom, maybe you're going to choose 1, you're going to have a discussion with your child, but what you're not going to be there and supervise, because again, then you're inserting yourself into that sequence of events that you want to see. Right. So almost like imagine a movie and then suddenly, in the middle. So you want to take yourself out of the equation. So what you're going to tell your son is he's going to do it the way he does it. And, if it didn't work out in the first, second, third time, that's fine, because habits take time to change. You're going to call him or her, and he's going to repeat that behavior from entering the door, putting on the, whether it was the backpack, he needs to put it back on, enter the door and do it correctly without you sort of hovering around or cheering or anything like that. You can be in the kitchen, but or just but you don't want to insert yourself just like the floor inserted itself, or you know what I mean. So it really just needs to be practiced exactly the way you want to see it, and reminding and nagging shouldn't be part of that.
So if you're not reminding and nagging, they come in, they throw it on the floor, you get them to come back, go back outside, put the backpack back on, come back in the thing, they throw it on the floor again.
If you've achieved that agreement, including a handshake, it's a handshake agreement that you had. I don't see a reason why if you call them to come back, they will, not if there's an issue of like compliance, then I don't think you guys managed to actually achieve an agreement before, in which case there's no point in taking on this little adventure. That most of the work is during that agreement.
Okay, so then I missed that part. So there you go. So the essential part of this is them understanding what you're doing and why. Therefore, there won't be that defiance, I think is the word you used, correct? Okay. Correct. And I'm just giving some examples because these are things that people will think, right? We're at the kitchen table, and I tend to be the type of person, I'm sitting there with my glass of wine at the end of it, and they get up and they run, right? And it's like, and their dishes are still sitting there. So if we've got this compliance thing happening and they've run off and I call them back, I'm sitting there with my glass of wine. I'm not hovering per se, because this is just my routine. I sit here with a glass of wine. I'm trying to put into place all of the things that you say need to be part of it in order to break that habit. If I am there, because typically I am there, that is my habit, do I stay there, just call them back to the table and say, now sit yourself down, pretend you're taking a bite, now what should you be doing? Is that how you do it?
It's exactly as you described. Sit down, because it needs to be practiced from sitting down, from finishing that last bite. Literally, my kids would pretend to drink an imaginary gulp of water,
Right.
put it back, having a moment of reflection while you clear your dishes. Just look at the table. Is there a spill that needs to be wiped? Look at the dishwasher. Is it free? Can you use it? So take literally 2 seconds of reflection to decide what you need to do. So other than clearing the dishes, there are condiments that need to be returned to the fridge. All these little decisions, just take a second to reflect on them. With younger children, and sometimes even count, how many items do I need to take back with me? Is it, the plate and the cup and the cutlery and the soy sauce and the ketchup or whatever? As long as we are sort of reshaping habits, we might as well insert that second of reflection so the kids can make these decisions.
Okay, so I'm understanding that you have a real grasp on making a child understand that this is a benefit for them. Do you have examples for toddlers as opposed to teenagers?
When it comes to the world of motivating toddlers to help around the home, it's a very different discipline compared with teenagers. Up until the age of 5, about 5 years old, the literature suggests to make it like a game. It's really not about having to do something. It's about building habits in a way that's playful, that's fun. So it's not so much about using logic and convincing values, morale. It's not about right or wrong, really. It's just about getting them into the habit of doing something. So you might be doing something along your child. You might be doing let's do it again, and this time let's do it in a different way. This way is better than the other way.
Right.
But it's really not about assigning responsibility to a toddler. 5 and older, where from a cognitive perspective, a child can understand that their needs are not the only needs in the entire world, and there isn't a reason for a 3-year-old child to realize that actually his needs are separate than other people's needs. It's just not there from a cognitive point of view. So it's really about fun. It's really about order as well, because kids that age love order. Sometimes kids, they have a routine on how they get into and out of a car, and you wonder what's going on there. It's just they have that internal sense of order, but it's for them. It's for their own benefit. It's not for the benefit of a family. It's not for the benefits of others. And that's absolutely fine, because that will come naturally with the cognitive development of a child. The understanding that his needs are different and separate from the needs of others, and that other people have needs as well. It will come naturally.
So if we take the time to actually watch our toddler, we might actually begin to understand their routines on something, and then very easily be able to slip in an additional section to the routine.
Yeah. If we do it just in a fun and playful way, and we just sort of repeated behavior, it will stick so quickly. you know how with a younger child, if you say, today I'm going to sleep in the bed with you, if you do it more than twice, that's it. It's a habit.
Yes.
So it's really whatever sort of behavior you want to see, just maybe do it together, show them how to do it. There's no need to be angry. It's just a matter of doing it in a playful and fun way, get them excited about it. The socks go here. It really isn't a reason to get upset at this age. And as long as you repeat this behavior the way you want to see it, in a playful way, make it a positive space for your child and for yourself, and maybe make it even as an experiment for yourself. See whether you're able to do it or not.
Right.
Come from a positive place.
So we've heard today from Shiri some very unique ways of training our brain so that we can train their brain into picking up habits that are really just to make their lifestyle better for themselves. And if we take that, I think with me anyways, when I look back to my own parenting, I had a stigma where I needed to get this done. I needed to teach them this. And Shiri is actually suggesting that we do this a whole different way than what we did when I was raising kids. And that is that, first of all, we have that conversation. We help them see what it is that they need to do. And we get an agreement with them. And then we proceed forward, where every time they're not doing the habit you want to see done, that you make them go back and do the habit, the full thing, not just picking it up from the floor, but pretending to dry themselves and putting it away. And she's given some amazing examples here. We'd love to hear back from you, the audience, whether or not you tried these things and how they worked, so that other parents can maybe come up with other ideas from what you may have been trying. And so we really would like to hear down below what you are going to try to do with all of this. And if you've done it, what you did and how it worked. And we really want you to go and check out Sherry's Facebook, Instagram, and her website. And again, those links are down below. And as always, we want to wish you an awesome day.